Hello and welcome to my channel, She's Just Trying, where today we're going to be trying something slightly different. Today we're going to be reading from r/short scary stories. So without further ado, let's get into our stories. Cell by u/Grand Theft Motto. Over one of our rare breakfasts together, I noticed my roommate's eyes were beginning to stick out from his head. It was a slight protrusion, but noticeable. The flesh around his eyes was puffy, stretched, and turning the slick blue-green of things left out in the rain for too long. "How are you feeling, Ian?" I asked. He looked up, clicked his teeth together once or twice, then went back to his cereal without answering. Part of the condition for him eating breakfast with me was that we wouldn't talk too much. I had a feeling Ian would not be joining me for any future meals. We'd been sharing an apartment for nearly 6 months, and I knew next to nothing about my roommate. Ian kept himself in his room. Some days I wouldn't see him at all. All of his food was delivered. He'd emerge exactly as his orders arrived at the door, then immediately retreat to his room. I never saw Ian use the bathroom, though I knew he must from time to time. Over the past month, Ian's reclusion worsened. Strange clattering sounds began to echo through his door. The odor seeping from his room quickly took over the apartment. I scheduled and rescheduled house meetings that Ian constantly ignored. One night, after our breakfast, I finally knocked on his door, resolute. Click, click, click. An angry, chittened sound, the only response to my knock. I opened his door. "Ian, we need to..." The smell was so much worse inside the room. It roared over me, raw, magnetic, like a porta potty in July doused in gasoline and set ablaze. Choking, I stumbled back. Beyond the door was gloom, shadows layered and stitched together. One silhouette, round and swollen, moved from somewhere near the bed. Click, click, yet. Click, click, out. Click, out. I retreated, slamming the door. It was nearly a week before I worked up the courage to knock again. By this point, the rank order carpeted our small apartment like Chernobyl dust. This time I approached Ian early in the morning, praying that the sunshine would be both disinfectant and ally. When I opened his door this time, I found silence and madness. Whatever was left of Ian sprawled on the floor. He was hunched over on his hands and knees, naked. His skin glistened damp and gray-green. Ian's eyes swiveled on twitching stalks to glare at me. Across his back stretched a hard shell. It was glossy, shining a deeper green than his body. The shell curled into itself with beautiful, unnatural geometry. The Ian thing turned towards me and slowly dragged its body forward, jaw chattering so hard white chips of teeth sputtered out. Click, 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 click. I slammed the door. Something heavy thumped into from the other side, but it stayed closed. I had been staring at Ian's room from the other end of the hall for the past hour. Thump, thump, thump. Ian keeps trying to knock down the door. Click, click, click. I guess I'm scared. My teeth won't stop chattering. The Watchers by u/Shaza00. Sleep paralysis never affected me, at least not until I was 16. I distinctly remember waking up and seeing that the blue light from my clock was now gray. It was 3:33 a.m. I didn't think much of it. I went back to sleep almost immediately. It wasn't until a few minutes later that the pressure on my chest woke me up again, like someone was sitting on me. This time, I couldn't move. I couldn't even open my eyes. All I could feel was the burning in my chest, the aching desperation for air. Panic tore through me. I couldn't do anything but sit there in a maelstrom of terrified thoughts, pleading to breathe. I thought I was going to die. But nothing happened. The pressure left my chest, the burning subsided. I took a deep, gasping breath. I opened my eyes to find my room completely dark. Even the light from my clock was out. I had no idea what time it was. Head spinning, I slowly heaved myself into a sitting position. Everything was eerily silent. I don't know what made me look out the window, but I wish I hadn't. I am just thankful my bedroom was on a second story. Standing in the front yard were two shadowy silhouettes, vaguely human in figure, but only if you spared a glance. Look any longer, and they began to shift into something more demonic. Their empty eyes burned into me, as if imprinting on my soul. Frozen with little amount of fear, I didn't break eye contact. Slowly, they walked away, leaving burning footprints in the grass. No sign of it in the morning. I told myself it was all imagination, a really vivid nightmare. But I could feel them watching me, for years, never showing themselves, always hiding in the shadows. I don't know if they're benevolent or have ill intent. Yesterday, they showed up on campus at my university. For the first time in 4 years, I made eye contact. They weren't empty anymore. They were familiar. They were mine. That smile the figure wore, that was mine too. Me, twisted with malice. I don't know what these things are that have been watching me. Now I know why they are. Tomorrow, if you see me, if you hear me, no, it's not me. It will never be me. It's time now. Soon you will all see. No one's safe from the Watchers. In the end, they are all that is. Humans are nothing. We are watching. The Cave by Yusas Jonekwe 84. As a child, myself and my cousins used to spend every summer at my grandparents' house. They lived on a large farm in rural Alpatia. Once our chores were done for the day, we were allowed to roam around the property. We could go anywhere we wanted on their property, with the exception of one area. Down by the southern edge of the creek, there was an opening to a large cave system. Grandpa told us that we were never to go there. He never would tell us why, only that we couldn't go there. For the most part, we obeyed. A few times we would get close enough to throw rocks at the mouth of the cave. We never saw anything except one time, Jared claimed he saw a man with no face standing just inside the cave. We teased him about it for the rest of the summer. 25 years later, and my grandparents had passed on. My father is getting older and doesn't want to work the farm anymore, so he's entrusting it to me. The first couple of months went pretty smoothly. I was very busy repairing and fixing things around the farm. But a couple of days ago, I remembered the cave and the story my cousin Jared still swears happened. So I grabbed up my rifle and headed to the cave, just to alleviate my curiosity. At first, nothing was there, just an empty cave. I had turned and started to leave when I heard something. I turned back around, and there in the cave stood my grandparents, just as I remembered them. They were even wearing their favorite outfits. I was certain it was them, but neither one of them had a face. I tried to scream, but nothing would come out. Everything went dim at that moment. I guess I blacked out. When I woke up, I was deep inside the cave. The cavern was lit with low, smoldering torches along the walls. I found myself in a sitting position with my hands bound behind me. Water was dripping on my head. The things that resembled my faceless grandparents were standing together at the entrance of a large cavernous room. They stood very still and seemed to be staring at me, though of course I couldn't tell. And then I heard it. Something large was approaching from even deeper in the cave. Each footstep seemed to reverberate up through the ground. And then it was there, standing in front of me. Its bottom half was like a goat, the top half like a human. It stood over 8 feet tall and had horns coming out of its head, and it had no face. It stood over me, cupping my head in its large hand and searching every inch of my face with its fingers. Yes, it growled at me. You will make a fine addition. Thank you for watching my channel She's Just Trying. If you're new, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. If you would like more scary stories, make sure to tell me in the comments. I read each one. That's it for now. I'm Hearts. I'm just trying. Stay safe, and bye.